A lot of y'all know I know. All this is a show. Watch me. Yo, been a loss of identity, many captivities. Can't trace your history past the antiquities. Different cold facilities, claiming they're the answer. Leave you more screwed up like smoking, dying from cancer. The dead necromancer speaking for rude banter. Thinking it's the God while a man is your master. Burdens placed on you, time and financial. God is black, Christ is too, that's how they catch you. Use a hint of truth combined with manipulation. Jeremiah 14:2, not what it's saying. Play word association, you take it as a precept. And some of them are who they teach they hate, just don't know yet. Stereotypical, very critical. Who they preach to stay away from, their life's identical. Their ways are archaic, portrayed as mosaic. The rules he been changing, beat the songs with King David. The Lord said to my Lord, that's all I need to mention. Before the resurrection in prison was his dissension. In the flesh he was rejected by the same frauds fronting. Those holy days collecting the tights, they mean nothing. Why you barely make it struggling? 9 to 9 hustling, your leadership indulging in kickback bubbling. Threaten you with discipline, never the king's regimen. Lump getting worse and worse than purge the old leavening. Some of them, when they hear this, will call me heretic. That's blasphemous. I follow the sun, and that's my heritage. Was once a part derelict with family, I was negligent and dealt with them negative, like wasn't even relative. Weakness brought skeletons, lot of poor choices. Repented, now I have to be a voice for the voiceless. There's only one sinless, we all worthy of death, so I'ma stand up to my very last breath and nothing's left. They gon' pay for their deaths. A bunch of false prophets, use his word for profits, fatting in their pockets. Cars, clothes, and mansions, vacations in the tropics. Eyewitness to it, I saw with my own eyes. Nothing spoken microscopic, enormous and gigantic. At the presence, they run troubled in the panic, can't stand it. Got a lot of brothers, comrades in mad places. Nothing racist, this war's about faith and who's faithless. Know what I know, some of y'all are Esau, that means wasted. At the throne, there's no placement with the one whose days ancient.
Peace, salute. We're live. We are live. Salute. We are live. Grace and peace. Salute. Peace, brother. We're going to commence in a second. And tonight's presentation, the topic is, how can two walk together unless they agree? Peace, my brother. Salute. Grace and peace. Salute. Always God time. Absolutely. Salute. Peace. Godspeed to everybody that's tuned in and tapped in. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it. Like, subscribe. Doing it organically. To get it going into that algorithm, man. Salute to everybody that's tapping in right now. Tonight's presentation, again, is entitled, How Can Two Walk Together Unless They Agree? Like it said, like it is said, follow the money. So with this particular topic, in this presentation, how can two walk together unless they agree? You know a lot about an individual by who they associate with, who they always engage with. Because if you do not agree with this individual, you will not associate with them. You will not engage with them. You will not frequent with them. So again, as they say, follow the money. This time we're going to follow who hangs out with who is around who. All right. So as always, whatever's presented, all I'm doing is presenting information, and I leave it for you to do with it as you see fit. If you believe, praise God. If you don't, praise God. You have your liberty. You have your freedom. Just sharing the information. And this is information that is known, it's public. This is not made up. But let's see. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. You get the first one lined up. Okay. All right. This is the first one. Okay, now come on. Give me a second. 1 second. 1 second. Peace, sis. Salute. Welcome. All right, now I should have it. Okay.
London.
She wants to stay. I've got myself a girlfriend. What?
This guy is Jimmy Savile. Very interesting fellow. He's no longer walking in the land of the living. And we're gonna see who he's been affiliated with and what is he known for. But you can pretty much get an idea with just this beginning clip of what he's about.
She wants to stay in London too.
She wants to stay. I've got myself a girlfriend. Well, it's one of my girlfriends. So she has something to say back, which is,
this is my boyfriend.
Oh, so she said it. She said it, you see. Just shift up there because it looks like I've added a girlfriend to my collection, ladies and gentlemen. Is there room for both of us in here? Are you sure?
Yes.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you that it would appear that I've been adopted by my friend here, who has not left me alone all day and doesn't look like she's going to leave me alone all night. However...
So that's Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile. Who's Jimmy Savile? Let's get into it. Some of you may have seen it. Some of you may have not. There's a documentary on Netflix about him. And there's other things that's not in the documentary that you would have to look up yourself and just research to know about that individual or this individual that I'm sharing and presenting tonight. All right.
At the time the full extent of his crimes became clear in October 2012, Jimmy Savile.
Let's go back.
At the time the full extent of his crimes became clear in October 2012, Jimmy Savile was still revered as a British institution. His name was emblazoned throughout hospitals across the UK. Streets were named after him. But during the weeks that followed, over a year after his death in 2011, Savile was revealed as one of sexual abusers.
That is a complete flight of fantasy.
For those that don't know him, it's hard to articulate exactly how famous Savile was in the UK. His bleached hair, gold jewellery and outlandish clothes were cultivated to make him stick in the collective memory of the British people. When he rose to fame in the 1980s, most UK presenters spoke stiffly in perfect English, and as an unrefined miner from a working-class area, Savile felt like a fresh, genuine voice.
Good morning, my sweetheart. How's things? Give us a kiss, baby.
He became as established as the likes of Oprah Winfrey or David Letterman, the sort of household name whose fame spanned generations.
Private pandemonium.
Many parents grew up listening to him on Radio 1, and their children watched him on Jim'll Fix It, a hugely popular show which ran from 1975 to 1994, often receiving 20,000 letters a week from its enraptured audience. Savile also presented Top of the
Good
Pops,
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Top of the Pops.
a music show which at its peak in the 70s was watched by 15 million people a week, around a quarter of the British population at the time. But Savile's novelty figure persona hid horrific secrets.
An influencer, basically, of this time.
Over his 53-year career, Savile abused countless victims, aged 5 to 75. After his death, over 450 people came forward with allegations.
Age 5 to 75. Age 5 to 75.
Lock things away was the way I coped.
His predatory behavior was allowed to flourish for over 5 decades, and Savile's power and
So these are all young girls that you see there, 14, 15, maybe 16 years old.
calculating influence meant that many accusations about his behavior were dismissed as ridiculous.
That sort of thing did happen in the pop business.
Savile was able to escape justice for so long because of his proximity to influential people. It's difficult to reconcile with his clownish persona, but he wielded genuine power. He became synonymous with large demonstrative charity projects, raising over £40 million through events that often gained widespread media coverage. He was awarded an OBE in 1972 and a knighthood in 1990, one of the highest honours the Crown can bestow.
The British Crown, the former Queen, her son, who's now the so-called king, the father. We're going to go through it and show you these type of individuals as Jimmy Savile and the people that are associated with him. How can two walk together unless they agree? A world-renowned super pedophile, ages 5 on up in regards to the pedophilia, and anything above legal age, other sex crimes. But this is more so to focus on the so-called pedophilia aspect, which is the politically correct term, but it's child rape. And all kind of things that follow with this. Human trafficking, sex trafficking, forced sex work.
It really is mine.
You sure?
It is mine. I'm telling you, it's mine. Tell them it's mine. It is mine. But I've nicked it.
He was an unofficial advisor to members of the royal family, the governor of Broadmoor, a high-security psychiatric hospital, and an esteemed member of the
An unofficial advisor to members of the royal family.
Catholic Church. He regularly dined with Margaret Thatcher while she was Prime Minister.
He used to sit and dine with Margaret Thatcher. the prime minister. And as you see, the thumbnail for tonight's presentation, How Can Two Walk Together Unless They Agree? It is Jimmy Savile with who is now called King Charles. That's the thumbnail. They were homies, buddies, friends. Tons of pictures of them online that you can see where they're laughing and smiling and joking and hugging. That's the company the royals keep, the so-called royals keep. Child rapists. But let's continue. It gets better. Let's continue.
And met the Pope on his visit to the United Kingdom.
Hanging with the Pope. Hanging with the Pope. Look at that. Cool, buddy. With the Pope.
He was friends with some of the most famous musicians in the world. Governments, the monarchy, established British institutions such as the BBC and NHS all trusted Savile.
This place would not be in existence without Jimmy Savile.
But his benevolent persona was a lie, created to overshadow the truth about who and what he was. Some celebrities and producers did raise concerns about Savile's behavior, but nothing ever came of it. And if they were ignored, there was even less chance of hearing the voices of the vulnerable, disenfranchised people upon whom Savile preyed. The revelations about Savile led directly to Operation Nutri, a police investigation into sexual abuse allegations, which led to the conviction of other British celebrities, such as Rolf Harris, Gary Glitter, and Dave Lee Travis. You can watch the full story in Jimmy Savile, A British Horror Story, available on Netflix now.
I am often tempted. In fact, my case comes up next Thursday.
Super duper perverts. Super duper perverts. So, did you know about him? Everybody that's tapped in right now, did you know about him? Did you know about Jimmy Savile? World-renowned, world-famous child rapist, pedophile. How many of you familiar? All right, so let's keep digging. Let's keep digging. Hold on one second. One second, guys. Feel free to tap in and leave your comments. Yeah, you had no clue. We're gonna keep going. Let's keep digging. Got another one for you. All right. Now let's listen to this story. Let's listen to this story from his own mouth, what he says.
So I'll tell you a very good fix that I did with a young lady at Buckingham Palace. I was at the reception at Buckingham Palace. That's the place where the Queen lives in Prince.
I know they keep the Queen there.
A young lady. When they say young lady, they're talking about like preteen, early teens. Listen to the story.
So I tell you a very good fix that I did with a young lady at Buckingham Palace. I was at the reception at Buckingham Palace. That's the place where the Queen lives in Prince.
I know they keep the Queen there.
And it's not an easy gaff to penetrate. Very, very.
What's that? Not an easy.
It's not an easy place to get into. That's right.
Yeah.
So I was at this reception, and there was a very nice lady and gentleman said to me, "My daughter would be so pleased to know that I've met you on this, that, and the other." I said, "Oh yes. Where is she?" And they said, "She's in the back of the car." I said, "What, in the boat?" And they said, "No, we've sneaked her in the back of the car so she can say she's been in the palace courtyard." I said, "And you've got her stuck out there?" I said, "Oh, leave it to me." And they went, "No, please don't." I said, "No." So I went to see a man.
So parents snuck their daughter in because she wanted to meet him. Let's see what he does.
And said, "They've got this situation and I'm bringing a friend in." So I said, "Listen, who's going to object to you?" So I said, "All right." Now, the palace staff are the most excellent people, right? On the way out, I explained very briefly what I was going to leave it to us. So I went out into the car park, which is a courtyard inside the palace, and I shouted the young lady's name. Next minute, she's holding my arm, and next minute, we're marching up the steps right into the palace. Well, the staff had done it right. The 2 footmen opened the 2 great doors, and inside there were all the majors and the colonels and the household staff. It's a most elegant situation and tremendously rewarding, right? And of course, when she sees this spectacle of the carpet and the people all standing there, and they all give a little graceful dip as she walked by, and she was now hanging on to me like a life raft.
So he liked that. He enjoyed that. This young lady, this daughter, this girl was holding on to him and all on him.
Right? And we walked up the steps and into the room where the reception was, in a room called the ballroom. And fantastic, look. Prince Phillip, who was a marvellous geezer, happened to be just standing inside the door. Prince Phillip, who was a marvellous geezer, and fantastic, look. Prince Phillip, who was a marvellous geezer, happened to be just standing inside.
Prince Phillip.
The door. Parroting to somebody. So I went.
It's a prearranged signal, no doubt.
Well, no, there's not.
There's the prince now, Prince Phillip. The husband to the queen.
A lot of people go inside the palace. People do it. So he's from the butchers, right, like this. See me, and I do the nod. Put a kid away.
He does the nod to the prince in regard to this young girl, to pass her off to him.
So he doesn't know where this young lady's appeared from, with a long coat on and bumpy jewels, but he has given a beautiful smile, and she's gone, right? That was a fix-it that I really enjoyed, and I think she might remember it, even if her parents and herself are watching tonight, she might even remember it to this day, and I think a lot longer.
Good. Passed off to Prince Phillip. Who's Prince Phillip? This is Prince Phillip, Duke of Edinburgh. This is who he passed him off to. Who he passed her off to. This is who he said, like, on some Sly Fox stuff. Psst, yo, psst, for you. Prince Phillip. That's him and Elizabeth. All the way to that old age, and look at the evil. It's all in the eyes. So that's Prince Philip. That's who Saville was cool with. That was his homie. Prince Philip, husband of the Queen. What kind of stuff was he into? Let's get it. Let's get it. Salute to everybody that's still here and rocking out. We are rocking out. How I'm sounding? Am I sounding good? Let me get a 1. Let me get a 1 if I'm sounding good. Does my mic sound nice? Is everything coming through clear? All right. All right. Let's go back to this a minute, because I think I'm missing a couple of pictures. Let's go back to this 1 second before I share what Philip was into. Let me just go through this. Let me see if, make sure I didn't miss anything. It's supposed to, okay, no, it's not there. Okay, so this is what Philip is into, or what he was a part of. And you'll see him. This is Freemasons celebration back in, I believe, 2017.
I call upon the Deputy Grand Master.
Most worshipful Grand Master and brethren, I hereby read the text of a letter sent today to Buckingham Palace. May it please your Majesty, we, the representatives of over 200,000 Freemasons under the United Grand Lodge of England, most respectfully express our continuing loyalty to your Majesty's throne and person in this, the 66th year of your long and distinguished reign. 100th anniversary of the foundation of the Premier Grand Lodge and the 50th anniversary of the installation of His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent as our much loved and greatly respected Grand Master. Order, pray his blessings on your Majesty, so that our loyal devotion to your Majesty may long continue. Given at the Royal Albert Hall this 31st 17. Her Majesty has been pleased to reply in the following terms. The Queen has asked me to thank you for your kind letter of loyal greetings on behalf of the representatives of the Freemasons under the United Grand Lodge of England, on the occasion of the 300th anniversary of the foundation of the Premier Grand Lodge and the 50th anniversary of the installation of the Duke of Kent as your Grand Master, which are being celebrated on the 31st of October at the Royal Albert Hall. Her Majesty appreciated your thoughtfulness in writing as you did, and in return has asked me to send her warm good wishes to you all for a most successful event.
It is with the warmest fraternal greetings and pleasure that I welcome you all here today to celebrate the founding of the Premier Grand Lodge in London. I had the pleasure of meeting 136 Grand Masters visiting from overseas at Freemasons Hall yesterday. Today, though, we are a meeting of more than 4,000.
So, again, all I'm doing is sharing the information and painting the picture. Who are the sons of Phillip? Who are his sons? His sons are Charles and Andrew. Those are his sons. And Edward. Charles, Andrew, and Edward. Again, from the thumbnail, you see that Charles, who is now the king, had a very close relationship with Jimmy Savile. His father, the prince, had a relationship with him. As you see, Jimmy Savile told the story and, you know, whistled at him or hissed at him for him to, you know, get the young girl that was with him. And he's a world-renowned pedophile. So Charles been around that. That's his friend. And Philip was around that. That's his friend. And the other sons as well. So now they have one of the sons who has been denounced by his brother, and he is no longer a prince. And that's Andrew. He's no longer a prince due to ordinances are being ordered by the crown.
Go ahead.
I wonder, what do you say today to Andrew Mountbatten, the man formerly known as Prince Andrew?
Well, you know, there's becoming a reckoning in Britain that needs to happen in the United States. A prince lost his title. The ambassador to the United States lost his job. We need to see those same kind of consequences here. As my colleague Rose said, there shouldn't be buildings named after these perpetrators of these heinous crimes. There shouldn't be scholarships named after them, and there needs to be accounting. We've seen tens of thousands of pages released by the Oversight Committee. What we've not seen is a single name. So I implore you to look and see if we have true justice and transparency in here. And the survivors will know when that has happened.
And I do think that Prince Andrew does need to come and testify at our Oversight Committee, and that can be by part of that. The urgency that the British people have shown in getting justice needs to inspire.
So the son of Philip, Prince Andrew, no longer is a prince because his brother, the king, King Charles, stripped that title from him. Right? And he's known for being friends with Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew. Now I'm gonna share something real quick. It's not in English. Want to go off of somebody else's presentation because sometimes that gets it flagged. So I had to find a clip. Optics. What are we talking about? What's going on, bro? What's that? So I had to find this clip, and again, it's not in English. I'm gonna let it play though.
ਪੰਜਾਬ ਅਤੇ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੀਆਂ ਹੋਰ ਖਬਰਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਨ ਲਈ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰੋ www.avpsanja.in ਤੇ।
ਲੰਡਨ ਦੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਬਕਿੰਗਮ ਮਹਿਲ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਅਜੀਬ ਘਟਨਾ ਹੋਈ। ਇਹ ਘਟਨਾ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਚਰਚਿਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਬਕਿੰਗਮ ਮਹਿਲ ਦੀ ਖਿੜਕੀ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਚਾਦਰ ਦੇ ਸਹਾਰੇ ਨੀਚੇ ਉਤਰਦਾ ਵਿਖਾਈ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਦੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੱਪੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ। ਇਹ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ 'ਚ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਬਕਿੰਗਮ ਮਹਿਲ ਦੀ
ਖਿੜਕੀ 'ਚ
ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਚਾਦਰ ਦੇ ਸਹਾਰੇ ਨੀਚੇ।
It's a naked person. This is Buckingham Palace.
ਚਰਚਿਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਬਕਿੰਗਮ ਮਹਿਲ ਦੀ ਖਿੜਕੀ।
The naked person escaping with a blanketed rope system or some type, like in the movies.
ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਚਾਦਰ ਦੇ ਸਹਾਰੇ ਨੀਚੇ ਉਤਰਦਾ ਵਿਖਾਈ ਦਿੱਤਾ।
Escaping, and then they fell. Escaping. People say that this section where this was done is the royal residence side of Buckingham Palace, where they actually dwell, where they stay. And somebody just escaped out the window, but naked.
ਬਕਿੰਗਮ ਮਹਿਲ ਦੀ ਖਿੜਕੀ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਚਾਦਰ ਦੇ ਸਹਾਰੇ ਨੀਚੇ ਉਤਰਦਾ ਵਿਖਾਈ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਦੇ ਸਰੀਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ
See that? All right, so now let's show it. I'm not going to play the whole one of this. This is kind of lengthy. Good question. I don't know the exact year. I believe it was within the past 10 years. But I don't know the exact year. But I believe it was within the past 10 years. Obviously, is, you know, cell phone footage. So, all right. So this is the next one with Andrew. It's for a BBC documentary on him.
The royal family has been dogged by questions about his friendship with a convicted paedophile. Tonight, for the first time, Prince Andrew speaks out. In a world exclusive, we go inside Buckingham Palace to ask about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Did you trust him?
Yes, I think I probably did.
And to hear him answer the allegations made by one of Epstein's victims about the prince's own sexual conduct.
He knows exactly what he's done, and I hope he comes clean about it.
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady.
What did he know about Epstein? What did he do on his visits to Epstein's many exclusive homes? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right.
Over the next hour, we hear testimony from the heart of the British royal family about the allegations and what he says happened. Would you be willing to testify or give a statement under oath? Tonight, Prince Andrew, the Epstein scandal.
I let the side down. Simple as that.
Some breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City.
Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his prison cell in August of this year. He was due to be tried in New York on charges of sexual abuse and trafficking of dozens of underage girls. He was facing up to 45 years in prison. Epstein's death robbed his victims of justice, and many of them gathered to tell the world how he ruthlessly exploited them.
All I'm going to say is today is a day of power and strength.
The billionaire financier liked to mix in very high circles, surrounding himself with a global A-list, including the Duke of York, Prince Andrew. According to Prince Andrew, he first met Epstein in 1999 through a mutual friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of Robert Maxwell. It's been reported that the prince flew with Epstein to his private island of Little St. James in the US Virgin Islands, and also visited his other houses in Florida and in New York. In June 2000, Epstein and Maxwell were invited by Prince Andrew to be guests at a party hosted by the Queen at Windsor. The Dance of the Decades event, attended by 600 guests, marked 4 royal birthdays, including Prince Andrew.
All right, so this will be available in the description along with everything else that's being shared in the presentation tonight. And that's rather lengthy. That's over an hour. So I just wanted to show the correlation that the former Prince Andrew is friends with Epstein, just as his older brother and his father were friends with Jimmy Savile. All right. Let me get the next one. And there's other people that are affiliated as well. It's a big circle. It's a big club.
This was Prince Andrew walking in New York Central Park with Jeffrey Epstein after the financier became a registered sex offender. Tonight, the prince's explanation backfiring.
I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
But the
He went there to tell him face to face that you're a pedophile. There's all kind of charges against you for human trafficking and sex trafficking and pedophilia. I can't be friends with you no more. Like he didn't know all those things were happening the whole time they were friends. And if you're really disgusted at a situation like that, you're not going to come in person and see the person. You might not even send them a text or nothing. That's it. You just discontinue. But that was his excuse. And that's within the interview.
In his New York mansion for 4 days.
You were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was convenient
for these young girls.
That was a disaster.
For me, it just showed.
The interview, widely viewed in the UK as a mistake and as misleading. The Prince denying Virginia Giuffre's allegations in a lawsuit that she was directed to have sexual encounters with the Prince 3 times when she was a teenager.
I can tell you categorically, I don't remember meeting her at all.
Giuffre alleges she remembers the Prince singing profusely as they danced at a London nightclub in 2001.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
Giuffre has not responded to the Prince's interview, but spoke to NBC News last September.
He knows the truth, and I know the truth.
Tonight, Buckingham Palace telling NBC News the Queen was aware of the interview. Prince Andrew may have hoped to answer the burning questions about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Instead, he's poured gas on the flames.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking.
Right. Right. So you see that, all this is going on. The mother knew about it. She absolutely knew about it. But that was the Queen. Can't say nothing to the Queen. She had full authority, full power. She knew about all that evil. She knew about all of that evil that her husband was involved with. Her husband was involved with, that her sons were involved with. He still was a prince. It wasn't until his brother became, quote unquote, king that this was done. Because the whole time with his mother, while she was still alive, he was still a prince. Right? So I'm going to share we'll let this pass really quick and line it up. And let's look at some other people that's affiliated and had some relation with Epstein. So again, if you was watching from the beginning, you see how I started with another type of figure as Epstein. Only difference, he's from Great Britain, and he was very close with many celebrities and was well loved and had a close relationship with the royal family and was a pedophile. Same with Jeffrey Epstein. And people been around him for a long time. Same with Harvey Weinstein. And you have people celebrating him and been around him. But as soon as they get charges filed on them and pressed on them, should I say, and they wind up going to jail, now everybody disassociates from them. They don't want to have no parts. Now, I don't know them. I don't know them. So let's see some that have been around Epstein.
Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein first became acquainted in the late for them to cross paths. Trump was already known as a wealthy businessman and real estate developer, while Epstein was building influence as a financier with powerful connections. In 2002, Trump gave an interview to New York Magazine in which he described Epstein as a friend. He said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." This comment has been widely quoted because it suggests that Trump was aware of Epstein's preference for very young women, even if nothing illegal was directly acknowledged. There is also video footage from a 1992 party held at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's private resort in Palm Beach, Florida. In the video, Trump and Epstein can be seen laughing together, pointing at women, and enjoying themselves in the company of cheerleaders. This footage supports the idea that the two men were socially close at the time. Flight records from the 1990s show that Trump and some members of his family flew on Epstein's private jet. The jet was sometimes referred to in the media as the Lolita Express, although there is no evidence that illegal activity took place on the specific flights involving Trump. Epstein also kept a personal address book, sometimes called the Black Book, which contained names and contact details of many high-profile individuals, including Donald Trump. This book has been made public through court filings and investigative journalism. Epstein also once claimed, according to author Michael Wolff, that Trump was one of his closest friends. He reportedly told stories about their time together, including nights in New York and Atlantic City, where they would look for women to meet. Epstein described these outings as part of their routine during their friendship. However, by 2004, the relationship between Trump and Epstein came to an end. Reports suggest that their falling out happened during a bidding war over a luxury mansion in Palm Beach. Trump won the bid, and some sources say Epstein never forgave him for it. Other unconfirmed reports claim that Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after complaints that he had behaved inappropriately toward young women working at the club. While that ban was never officially confirmed, it has been repeated by various media outlets over the years. After Epstein was arrested in 2019, Trump publicly distanced himself from him. When asked by reporters, Trump said, "I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I was not a fan of his." He claimed that they had not spoken in over 15 years and denied any close relationship after their fallout. Later, during his political campaigns, Trump made additional comments. He at one point promised to release grand jury transcripts and other documents related to Epstein's criminal network. However, he later shifted his position, calling the people demanding the documents troublemakers and referring to the Epstein issue as a distraction created by political opponents. No official legal filings or testimonies have ever accused Trump of participating in Epstein's sex trafficking activities. Multiple news outlets, including the Washington Post, have confirmed that there is no direct evidence linking Trump to any of Epstein's crimes. Still, the fact that he was once socially close to Epstein continues to raise questions, especially in the court of public opinion. Bill,
right. How can two walk together unless they agree? So until the falling out came, there was no problem. When the falling out came, that's when, I wasn't a fan of his, and he did this, he did that, he did. So the whole time you knew. But as long as there was no lines crossed with you, it didn't matter. So then you got Clinton that had a relationship with him, Kevin Spacey. And then we get
Prince
to
Andrew, the Duke of York and second son of Queen Elizabeth II, became connected to Jeffrey Epstein in the late 1990s. Their relationship began through Ghislaine Maxwell, where Prince Andrew stated that he met Maxwell first, and that she later introduced him to Epstein. From there, their association grew as all three operated within elite circles of politics, wealth, and international philanthropy. By the year 2000, Prince Andrew was spending time socially with Epstein and Maxwell. Reports confirmed that he had invited them to several royal events, including a shooting party at Sandringham and gatherings at Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace. These were not secretive meetings. They were part of the royal calendar, which included many international guests. Epstein and Maxwell's presence, however, gained later attention due to what was eventually revealed about their private criminal activities.
My dad can't lose weight with Tai Chi.
All right, so there's others. And that'll be available in the description with everything else that's shared. So again, when everything is cool, yeah, there's no problems. There's no problems. Everything's cool. So those compliments that were given, he's a nice guy, he's a good guy, and I know him for this amount of time and whatever. All the good talk is when everything is solid. There's no problems. There's no schism, there's no beef. But as soon as something happens, lines across and they're at odds, especially if one of the parties is having a moment like this guy Epstein, and being known as a child rapist and a human trafficker and so forth and so on. Now all of a sudden you don't want to have no association with him because that's made known. But that was known the entirety of the friendship. It was known. It's only when there's drama, right? So let's just see the friendship. That was there. So you can't deny it, right? So let's go through a list of the celebrities that's been to this island that belongs to this person, Epstein.
Hello, everyone. This video is about list of famous people named in Jeffrey Epstein case. Enjoy watching.
It's not a theory. It's not a theory. Flight logs. Flight logs. That's been revealed. Not files and evidence of activities or whatever. Flight logs, like an attendance, is absolutely facts. These are everybody that's been on his island. Everybody.
Hello, everyone. This video is about list of famous people named in Jeffrey Epstein case. Enjoy watching.
I want to say it again. Ignore what he's saying in regard to the Jeffrey Epstein case. These are actual names from the flight log that were on the flight log. If that's a part of the file as a whole, I guess, because this already has been known. The flight log, the names of the people that have been on the island.
Hello, everyone. This video is about list of famous people named in Jeffrey Epstein case. Enjoy watching.
What association do they have with him? And why were they going, or why did they go to that island? So with everything just happening within the past couple of weeks, where now they're waiting for Trump to sign the bill for the files to be released. This just happened.
Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning, August 12th, and we just sailed over from St. John, and we are approaching Great St. James and Little St. James, seeing the FBI on the dock as we put down the mainsail. Looks like the FBI agents have arrived on Little St. James. They seem to be walking the grounds. It's the main house on the island. There's in the water.
Feds was on the island.
Agents at the outpost.
This is just a couple of days ago.
Protective armor and their FBI shirts.
What's happening? Are they there to search for more evidence, or are they there to destroy evidence? Again, this was just a couple of days ago. What was on this island? There was something on this island.
Newly obtained video from inside the buildings on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands shortly after his arrest. We took you inside Jeffrey Epstein's kitchen. Over the last week, we've shown you newly obtained video from inside the buildings on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands shortly after his arrest. We took you inside Jeffrey Epstein's kitchen, inside his personal library, even inside the master bedroom where we could see those phones on the bedside tables with speed dials and names. Now, we take you inside the infamous and mysterious temple. New footage received by O'Keefe Media Group gives a detailed look at the interior. No one has ever seen this before. Here we go. You are looking inside this mysterious building, and the walls are covered with what appears to be a marble textured finish and a wooden bookshelf with one solid column on the left and one spiraling shape stretching to the ceiling on the right. And if you look up at the top of this mysterious temple, you'll see what appears to be a detailed celestial painting filled with astrological figures. Before we dive too deep into that, let's just take a step back. Back in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein's arrest for sex trafficking set the internet on fire, and one image became iconic. This mysterious building on his private island, Little St. James, located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The gold dome represented those on the religious structures around the world, like the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. We found that Epstein's temple most closely resembles this building in Aleppo, Syria, a bathhouse constructed in the year 1384 by a Muslim dynasty. There are obvious similarities, such as the gold dome roof and the stripes, but also notice the identical stripe pattern around the tops of the arches. There is no record of Epstein ever traveling to Syria. His family descended from European Jews who immigrated to America. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. Now, in one room of Epstein's island compound, we saw a framed photo of his elementary school. This is the actual photograph of the image inside the frame. This would turn out to be Coney Island's Public School 188, named after Michael E. Birdie. Building permits filed in 2010 for Epstein's island compound didn't include the temple. They instead proposed that an octagonal music pavilion with a grand piano be built on the site. But around 2012, the temple was constructed instead. Now, until now, no one has ever published video taken from inside this structure. In 2019, the closest thing to it was Business Insider releasing the account of a local piano tuner, Patrick Barron, who alleged that he visited the temple to service a piano it contained. However, the video we obtained shows an interior that differs from Barron's description. Through this never-before-seen footage, we show you what it was like to visit inside Epstein's temple. You travel up a gravelly road that hugs the tropical hillside. past what appears to be a helicopter landing site, which is situated in a discreet green field where Epstein and his elite guests would arrive by air. You crest the ridgeline and spot a giant sundial. Seen here in drone footage from a YouTube account named Rusty Shackelford, this large and mysterious sundial-born image resembling the sun. But it also resembles a figure known as the Masonic Man, first appeared in a 1754 pamphlet commenting on Freemasonry. You ascend further, and the infamous building emerges on a small hilltop up the gravel road. This footage was captured after Epstein's arrest in 2019. Now, some will say, well, this is old footage, but everything related to Epstein is 5 years old. He died 5 years ago, and all of the tens of thousands of videos are also 5 years old. It's still very important for us to ascertain what actually happened. Now, notice that the signature gold dome is missing on top of this building. It was reportedly blown off during Hurricane Maria 2 years earlier. That was the Category 5 hurricane that barreled through the Virgin Islands, causing mass destruction.
All right, so you can get the rest of that in the description. Let me see this one right here. Okay, no. All right. What goes on in these parties and these gatherings? Why did he have a temple on that island? And why all these celebrities and politicians and business people going to this island? Why? To this temple on his island. All right. Let's get the last one.
In too many cities, dangerous illegals walk free as police are forced to stand down. Join ICE.
Watch how butter affects belly fat.
Can you spot the difference between these two butters? One sizzles.
Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
Broken baby doll heads and torn limbs scattered across tables. Mannequins arranged to look like corpses. And the host wearing a menacing horned mask. No, this isn't some weird horror movie. These are actual photos taken at an Illuminati ball held by none other than the Rothschilds. The leaked pictures depict a scene eerily similar to Stanley Kubrick's 1999 movie, Eyes Wide Shut. Had Kubrick himself been a witness to these elite mansion parties? Kubrick died just days after showing his film to the studio, and many believe he was killed for his daring expose. And what was in the mysterious 24 minutes the studio cut from the film after his death?
And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film.
From ancient Luciferian rituals to cannibalism and human sacrifice, what really goes on at these elite mansion parties? Brace yourselves as we enter the real Eyes Wide Shut. The aberrant perversions of the power.
Lolita. Lolita. Epstein's plane was known as the Lolita Express. Named after this movie by Stanley Kubrick. Everything intertwines. It all comes back full circle. It's by design. So, Lolita.
Aberrant perversions of the powerful so-called elite had always been a recurring theme for Kubrick, but he took it one step further in what would end up being his final film, Eyes Wide Shut, which depicted a masked ball identical to one the Rothschilds had thrown years earlier. The year was 1972, and the Rothschild mansion outside of Paris looked like it was in flames. Huge flickering orange lights projected a fiery inferno across the main edifice. It was all part of the preparation for a masked ball they were hosting, and the guest list read like a who's who of the Illuminati. Artists, fashion designers, celebrities, and royalty were greeted by men in cat masks who guided them to the main room, where Marie Helen de Rothschild waited, wearing an elaborate deer head mask with ornate horns jutting from the top. Horned masks have historically been part of ancient pagan rituals. The invites were written backwards and required a mirror to read, reflecting Satanist Aleister Crowley's edict to do everything backwards. Creepy photos taken from the event have surfaced which show their bizarre costumes and questionable decoration. Baby dolls strewn on tables as part of the decor, demonstrating their hatred for humanity. Audrey Hepburn and another attendee wore birdcage masks, signifying MK Ultra mind control. Perhaps the weirdest picture is of men gathered around a nude female effigy, laid out on what looks to be some type of sacrificial altar. Notice the similarities to Marina Abramovic's cannibalistic cake parties, attended by the Hollywood elite, and scenes from music videos, such as Katy Perry's creepy Bon Appetit. One rumor even suggested the female body was made of sugar and was actually edible. The menu from this strange event also hints at a cannibalistic undertone. Sirloin, for instance, is spelled out sirloin, like it is a person's name. And another menu item refers to an exquisite cadaver. When Cruise's character is discovered as an imposter, the man in the red cloak is sitting on a chair with a double eagle on it. The double eagle is the symbol of the Rothschild family and is found on their crest. Kubrick even filmed the salacious scenes inside an actual Rothschild mansion. But the film isn't the movie Kubrick wanted audiences to see. The studio demanded 24 minutes of the original be cut. Much speculation has been made about what might have been in that 24 minutes. Officially, Warner Brothers claimed that editing was necessary in order to obtain an R rating. This explanation doesn't make sense, however, given such a significant portion of a final cut film. 24 minutes is more than random clips. It's more likely that an entire scene was removed. A scene that could have been the climax of the entire movie. One that made all others make sense. After all, it was important enough that Kubrick refused to remove it.
I got a call, and he claimed to be one of Kubrick's top assistants before he died. In other words, he was there all the way to the end.
Wow, that's getting good.
And he told me Kubrick kept muttering to himself that the Warner Brothers executives were going to hate his film. And literally, he quoted me as saying, when they see this film, they're going to kill him. Then on the night that he showed them the film in London, strangely enough, he had taken up smoking again, which he'd been a chain smoker earlier in life, and he kind of slowed down. But apparently, much to this guy's surprise, he was chaining again. And he waited in the lobby, really kind of pale and distant. And then the movie ended, and the door opened, and so I walked out and said, "Stanley, I need you coming down here." And the door shut, and this guy said that he heard yelling for about 45 minutes, screaming and yelling. And he heard Kubrick say that, you can't change my film. It's in my contract. And then Kubrick stormed out first, and he followed Stanley. And that was the last time we ever saw Stanley.
But was Stanley Kubrick really murdered for the secrets he revealed in Eyes Wide Shut?
24 minutes that was cut. You have no idea what he exposed. This is also the guy that filmed the moon landing.
Many researchers say yes, and point to the strange coincidences surrounding the filmmaker's sudden demise.
And this is a guy who'd already done Eyes Wide Shut back in 1999, and then right before the film comes out, Stanley Kubrick ends up dead.
Right.
And he dies the same way that one of the guys died in the film. And the film, of course, exposes the cabal totally. And if you actually get the DVD and you watch Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman being interviewed for this thing, they are really freaking out about when they're asked questions about Stanley Kubrick's death.
For you. Now you look back and you say, well, what if something, no. Did he have any heart problem? The man worked hard. I'd get faxes from him at 3 a.m, and Christian was there, and he didn't discuss that, it was sudden, it was shock. No one said, oh, that was expected, especially after a couple of days after talking to him. And
Kubrick died just days after his original cut was presented to the studio. Although he had secured complete creative control over the film, the studio refused to show whatever was in those 24 minutes. So what were they to do? Many believe the Hollywood elites, angry over his expose, murdered Stanley Kubrick so that they could edit the film, and there would be no way he could ever reveal what was in the original version.
Look at Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick, who you better believe got invited to things like this. And there's names very similar to George Soros in it as, the bad guy character. And his wife, he finds out, is really an occultist. And he died a day after refusing to cut 24 minutes of it. Well, they cut it. You better believe they cut out of this film.
The timing of his death is also curious, being exactly 666 days before January.
Attention law enforcement. You took an oath to protect and serve. To keep your family.
January 1st, 2001. One of Kubrick's most acclaimed films is 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I think the fact that Stanley died exactly 666 days before January 1st, 2001, the first day of the year of his greatest film, that worries me, I have to tell you. I think that's a signal, and I hope to, the heavens above that.
That's how they operate. That's how they communicate. This is what they do.
He wasn't murdered, but somehow that seems like an Illuminati signal.
A Space Odyssey. In death, Kubrick once again blends fiction and reality, as if he himself were a character in this sordid tale. But there's just one problem. Stanley died of a heart attack. Could the Illuminati really make a murder look like a heart attack? In a 1975 Church Committee hearing, it was revealed that the CIA had a weapon capable of doing just that.
Also, I had to find, one time they wanted me to find out if there was such a thing as as a poison that was undetectable, especially one that seemed to mimic a heart attack that would kill someone, but it would appear that they had a heart attack. I did find such a thing.
Does this pistol fire the dart? Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman. And a special one was developed which potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
The poison was frozen into some sort of dart, and then it was shot at very high speed into the person. So when it reached the person, it would melt inside them, and the only thing would be like one little tiny red dot on their body, which was hard to detect. There wouldn't be a needle left or anything like that in the person.
But also the toxin itself would not appear in the autopsy? Yes, so that there was no way of perceiving that the target was hit.
You saw the smiles and the smirks on their faces.
What else did Kubrick show in those 24 minutes? Everyone in the crew signed lengthy contracts and strict confidentiality agreements, so almost no verifiable information is available. However, most rumors contend that it had something to do with the shocking Illuminati mansion party. This type of event actually dates back to ancient times, such as the Greek and Roman Bacchanalia festival, which involved masked orgies as part of the invocation of pagan gods.
On the West Indies, Bacchanal time.
The old-moneyed European aristocrats have been secretly attending such events for hundreds of years. In fact, Trom Novelle, the story from which Kubrick based the screenplay, was about a couple who experiences a similar party in upper-class Austria around the turn of the century. Austria is near the Bavarian region of Germany, where the original Bavarian Illuminati was founded. Alice is seduced by a hypnotic older gentleman who introduces himself as Sandor Savost, which many believe to be a reference to Anton Sandor LaVey, founder and high priest of the Church of Satan. One of the mysterious women who leads Bill off introduces herself as Nuala Windsor.
Do you know Nuala Windsor?
Alluding to British royalty and their association with the Cabal. One mask in particular is said to bear a resemblance to Bob Hope, who has been named by whistleblowers as an MK Ultra handler.
Before today, you refrained from naming names. Would you like to tell us who was involved in these various activities that you've described before?
Yes, I would, Ted. It's real scary for me, but I'd like to go on public record saying that my owner under mind control was Bob Hope, and that I was abused and used as a mind control sex slave.
Most believe Harford saw something profoundly disturbing at the ritual, perhaps a literal sacrifice or other such bizarre type material. Still, others speculate Kubrick may have exposed the satanic elite's use of children in their bizarre rituals as well. Elite child trafficking rings have come to light in Belgium, the UK, the US, and other countries, proving there's a much more sinister side to these secret parties. Was this what Kubrick, the UK, the US, and other countries?
Saville. Jimmy Savile.
Proving there's a much more sinister
who we started this presentation off with
side to these secret parties. Was this what Kubrick was really trying to warn us about? He had already alluded to this theme when Bill goes to the costume shop and encounters a father prostituting his underage daughter. The name of the costume shop is Rainbow Fashions. Rainbows, rainbow symbolism, and Wizard of Oz themes are all related to MK Ultra mind control.
Don't you want to go where the rainbow ends?
Well, and lending credence to this theory is a
All right, so the rest of that will be available in the description. Now, I'm going to share something. I want to share something biblically in regard to this presentation. How can two walk together unless they agree? The pedophilia, the child raping, the sex trafficking, human trafficking that's done. There's penalties for that. That's written within the Bible. So I'm going to get the first one. I'm going to get the first one. We're in First Timothy chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers. That's what I'm focusing on. Men stealers. What is a man stealer? A kidnapper. Kidnapping. The law is not made for the righteous. A righteous man doesn't need to be told you're not supposed to kidnap people, because that's not in their nature to do. This is for someone where this is in their nature. So there's a law there to let them know, don't do that. Right? And why? What was the law that was there? Let's read one of them. Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. That was the law that was set for people that kidnap. And then sex traffic them, selleth them. sell them to be a slave, sell them to be a sex provider. The penalty was to be put to death. Got another one. Let me get a thumbs up if you was here last week and you was tuned in for the open book test and the conversation in the presentation in regard to the beginning and what transpired with the giants and so forth. Let me know if you're ready for the part 2. Let me get a thumbs up if you're ready for a part 2. So here's another one, Deuteronomy 24:7. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren, his brothers, of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put evil away from among you. Although it says him, it constantly refers to him or man, that also covers the female as well. Right? So we've seen in that clip that I shared, which will be in the description, what is not supposed to be done by a father to his daughter. In the clip from Eyes Wide Shut of the last one that I shared, something that was mentioned in regard to the father with his daughter prostituting his daughter. And this is Leviticus 19:29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. And the penalty for that was death. The penalty for that was death. So with that, we're going to come to a close with tonight's presentation. How can two walk together unless they agree? Known child rapists, known child pedophiles, and sex traffickers and human traffickers. People are friends with them, have relationships. And it's not until there's a fallout when it's mentioned that, you know, they're not this, they're not that. But that wasn't the case when everything was good. And you see the affiliation all across the board, the connection, how these people are all connected to some sort of evil. What are they doing? What don't they want the public to know that they are doing? What are they hiding? The crazy thing is there's documents on everything that's been done. That's the crazy part. It's been going on for eons. And there's documents of it. All kind of pictures, video, recorded conversations, emails, texts, phone, or everything. What are they doing? There's something strange with the rich. The more money they acquire, the more evil they get. And they look at people that's poor as cattle. They're expendable. They're taking up space. The rich do a lot of strange things. They get bored. They get bored. The rich. With that, peace, blessings, Godspeed. Salute to everybody that tapped in and tuned in. We'll be back next week with another one. Only one person gave a thumbs up to go into part 2 of that. If you was here for it last week, if you want a part 2, let me see it. And we'll get to it next week, God willing. All right, salute, Godspeed. As always, it's God time. Peace.